On today's Buckeye Roast, Week 1 delivered history with the most watched opening games ever, and we've got all the numbers and reactions. We'll also check in on the latest Heisman odds, and yes, Julian has a new nickname, and the guys will break it down. Plus, transfer updates on former Buckeyes making noise elsewhere, highlights from this week's media availability, and finally, the players we're most excited to see against Grambling. I'm Chris Drew, and this is the Buckeye Roast with Ron and Q right here on Dead Air Sports. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back for another episode of the Buckeye Roast. It's your boy Ron James here with my guy QP Ski. Q, how you doing?
Hey man, halfway through, you're almost. Well, actually, we're 3/4 of the way through, almost the game week. So another chance to see the Buckeyes go and take on their opponent on Saturday. Get better, fundamentals. What we talked about yesterday.
Absolutely. The best thing about being 1-0, the chance to go 2-0. The Buckeyes take on Grambling State this Saturday. We got plenty to talk about today here, Q, but I have a stat for you. Not really a stat, it's a number. 20,000. Any relevance to that number?
I love these random numbers. The number that's not in my bank account.
Correct. You got it.
Your college student loans.
Hey, close.
No, I have no idea what 20,000 means.
Followers on TikTok.
There we go. Go Tigers.
Yeah, go Tigers. The national TikTok page is going absolutely crazy. Shout out to all the LSU fans running it up over there, but that is the stat of the day. Make sure you smash that like button right here on Dead Air Sports. We have a like goal of 100 likes. Last week, it was a like goal of 50. We used to call Q smash that like, but you guys have smashed that like so much that we had to double the goal, and we've been doing 100 likes a day, so can't thank you guys enough for running it up for us. We really appreciate it. It helps us a ton in the algorithm, and we're definitely seeing the jump in numbers from the support. So make sure you smash that like button. It costs you nothing. It helps us a ton, and things have been going great over here. Q, we got some national news.
I got a little bit of a renewed beef, so I feel like we talk about this before we really jump into it. But your boy Lou Holtz is back, Ron, your favorite college football coach of all time. So he continues his beef with Ryan Day, doing it from home, not from the studio. But he says, I don't think Ohio State's a great football team because they got outrushed on Saturday. I would not be concerned about playing them. What's your reaction to that?
Did his team not just lose?
He didn't address that on this clip I saw.
Oh, that's crazy. He had nothing to say about his team that just lost. Like, bro, worry about your team, old man. Like, your team is on a 2-game losing streak. The Buckeyes have beat 5 straight AP top 10 teams, and Lou Holtz is still out here. I forgot this is a family-friendly program, Q, because I almost said he was flapping his blank, and I don't use that phrase on this show. But, man, why is he out here running his mouth like that?
I have no idea. This is my favorite beef in college football by far. Like,
what, Ryan Day and Lou Holtz, or me and Lou Holtz?
Go you and Lou Holtz first, Ryan Day and Lou Holtz second, and then Dan Lanning and Mike Gundy third right now. So definitely got some good beefs going on. But hey, man, he's keeping it alive. What else he got to do?
Clearly not watch his team, because if he watched his team, he would shut the hell up and worry about them. I don't know. I don't know why that ESPN tries to keep this beef alive. It's like, oh, the Ohio State's doing good. Let's bring out this carcass of Lou Holtz and have him just talk shit on the Buckeyes. Why?
I have no clue, man. But when Lou Holtz speaks, we will be here to report it. But we got more national stuff. But let's play the song first. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
All right. Ron, we got a lot of Buckeye stuff today. I know people been complaining about this national stuff, but we have
It's so funny watching people say, "Oh man, you guys aren't talking about the Buckeyes, or you took so long to get to the Buckeyes." The show is timestamped. If you watch on YouTube, you can skip to whatever you want to hear us talk about. It is meticulously timestamped to like every topic is perfectly timestamped on there. So if you want to jump ahead and find something about the Buckeyes or something that we're talking about later in the show, go down into the timestamps and find what you want to hear.
That is true. But we only have matchups to talk about, Ron. So I know you had the graphic for that. Well, let's talk about what we have on this Saturday. So, Ron, I'll throw it to you. What's your top matchup you're looking forward to this weekend besides Oklahoma, Michigan?
I was going to say that's the easy one. Oklahoma, Michigan, obviously. Is Bryce Young the truth? I guess we'll circle back to that one. But when I take a look at this slate of games, I mean, this is a big narrative weekend for me when I look at this Illinois-Duke matchup. I've been a Manny Diaz truther. I'm also a big Brett Bielema guy. I'm interested to see if Illinois is able to go on the road and get a big win for the Big Ten, or if Manny Diaz is able to get a big win for his program at Duke in his second year there. He's added a lot of new transfers, not ranked yet. Caden Salter, what do you have? Like I'm not Caden Salter. The new quarterback that they got there had 3 touchdowns. I'm sorry. Yeah, Caden Salter is the kid at Colorado. But Darian Mensah goes out there and has 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's going to be facing a much more difficult defense in Illinois. That's a game that I really have my eye on just for Manny Diaz narratives, Big Ten narratives. It could go either way. I feel like I win either way that game ends, but that's the one that I'm most excited to watch.
Yeah, and I have one in an honorable mention. I'll say USF Florida. So we saw week 1, Boise State obviously ran into a buzzsaw over there. And I'm like, damn, is USF for real? I guess we'll find out on Saturday against DJ Lagway. So that's one I'm looking at. And the honorable mention is the beef I talked about earlier, Oklahoma State and Oregon. So Oregon is a 28.5-point favorite. So I want to see if Delane just goes in there and says, "Oh, you want to talk crazy? I'm about to be throwing money on the sideline as we run up the score."
Pulling money out of their socks in the end zone, like Terrell Owens pulling out the Sharpie. I wanted to circle back to the USF Florida game, Q. This wasn't in the notes, but man, I always used to make the joke that I don't call it the Big 3 in Florida because they need to start counting UCF. But the way USF performed in week 1, maybe they should be included in the Big 4 in Florida. Q, I want to ask you, well, one, this game is going to settle some of the rankings. But right now, going into week 2, Q, how would you rank the Big 4 in Florida, in Florida State, Miami, the Gators, and then USF?
I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, it's hard not to put Miami number 1. Notre Dame was clearly the best team of the opponents they had. So I thought Miami played pretty dominant through 3 quarters. They almost blew it at the end, but they held on for a win. So it'd be hard not to put them in number 1. I would probably put maybe Florida State at number 2. I mean, I think Bama is not as good as we thought they were, but I still feel like that team is very talented, and they're not terrible. They just didn't go out and perform well. And it's not like they got blown out against Florida State. It was a dominant win, but the score tells a little bit of a different story. So I probably put Florida State at number 2, and then Florida following them, but I think it's very close. I mean, Florida could be the best team. We just haven't seen them play anybody yet.
Well, they have quite the matchup here on Saturday. Let us know down in the comments your rankings for the Big 4 in Florida. Who do you have as the top team in Florida right now? I mean, that's my hot take of the season right now, that there's a chance that the Big 3 all make it to the playoff.
Bold take. Okay, now your number 1 anticipated game, Michigan, Oklahoma. Ron, what are you looking forward to on Saturday?
I mean, it just comes down to, is Bryce Young or Bryce? Are we?
Yes,
how many years are we gonna have to do this? You might want to change your name, bro. At this point, I think it'd be easier for everyone that has to talk about Michigan to you're gonna have to come up with a new name, because I'm gonna say Bryce Young every time. Bryce Underwood, is he the guy? Is he legit? I came away super impressed by his week 1 performance. You see the flash, you see the athleticism, you see the arm strength. Are the weapons there? Is the offensive line able to hold up? What does he look like in front of a Brett Venables defense? I want to see, is this kid legit? I think in the long run, he's ultimately going to be a problem at Michigan as far as like for everyone else in the country. I think he's that legit of a talent, but is he the kid that everybody at Michigan is saying he is? And is he ready to be that guy right now in year one and make Michigan a contender? Because if Michigan goes out and gets a statement win for the Big Ten, I mean, you could make the argument the 4 best teams are in the Big Ten in the country right now. We're going to start to be able to get off SEC narratives if Michigan goes to Oklahoma and gets a win and say, why do we even have a playoff? How about we just give out trophies at the Big Ten championship?
Yeah, I mean, great point. I mean, this is going to be a true test. I'm still riding with Michigan in this game. I might, for once, put some money on Michigan just to say I put my money where my mouth is, because I think they are going to get a win here. Oklahoma, I'm interested to see this matchup. I mean, Oklahoma's bounced back from last season. John Tier looked good in his first game. So, but I think Bryce Underwood doesn't have to be amazing in this game. I mean, we saw the rushing attack from Michigan in the first game. We know they're going to play good defense, but can he go out and do somewhat of what Julian Sayin did? Can he make the play when it's there? Can he take care of the ball? Can he hit a flash in the pan a couple times and get out of there with a win? So I'm very interested in this game. Again, it's my top matchup look for this weekend.
Yeah, we did the Michigan schedule breakdown. We were split on this game. I had Oklahoma winning. You have Michigan winning. If Michigan gets this win, we talked about it yesterday as far as how important it was for Ohio State to get that win in pocket over Texas, as far as how tight the margin is going to be getting into the back end of the playoff. If Michigan is one of those borderline teams, if they're able to secure a win against Oklahoma, you look at the rest of their schedule, could they go 11-1?
No, they could. I mean, it's very favorable, and even better, this is going to settle which rivalry is the best in football. Michigan goes there and gets a win. I don't want to hear about no red.
Oh, that's Q. That's a tempting narrative to jump on the bandwagon and be like, man, don't bring up your rivalry with ours after we spanked both of y'all.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks in the end of the red
brother
river
goes
rivalry.
And handles big brother. Little brother goes and handles little brother.
Hey, we pushing narratives around here, but yeah, a lot of talk about for college football this weekend.
Let us know in the comments. Who are you rooting for? Do you have your Big Ten homer hat on this weekend, or are you rooting for Michigan to lose? I'm consistent with my take that I want Michigan to lose every time they step on a field. I don't care who they're playing. They could be playing Satan and friends, and I'm rooting for Michigan to lose. But man, you make a good point there, Q. I'm so tempted to put on my Big Ten hat and be like, look at the best rivalry in all of college football, showing you guys why it's the best rivalry in college football.
Man, yeah,
I like that narrative, man.
The Red River rivalry weekend. You can be like, man, look at the second tier rivalry they got going on. And it doesn't hit the same.
That is a great shout there. I had to steal your line for you.
There you go. Good shout, man. But yeah, let's get to some we got some Buckeye talk to get into.
You got some Buckeye talk. I feel like you should just call this guy the PFF superstar. He is their favorite player. He has been ever since he stepped on campus.
Yeah, Jermaine Matthews. Yeah, I mean, we talked about all last year. What he had, the number one grade in the country.
Well, he's had the number one. He's had like the number one coverage grade. I'm exaggerating, but at points throughout his career, he's had the number one coverage grade in PFF at multiple times at every point in his career, freshman, sophomore, and now we're seeing it again.
Yeah. Corner of the week. No, actually bought out Saturday, made the Pro Football Focus team of the week, and yeah, I mean. I was just disappointed we didn't have more Buckeyes on that list, because I'm like, a lot of guys balled out on Saturday. I mean, if they're not grading at the best of the Big Ten, who is against Texas? So I have some questions, but Jermaine Matthews gets the shout.
Jermaine Matthews gets the shout. There has been a lot of talk on Twitter about numbers regarding not only the first game of the season, but also the big noon kickoff. Dave Portnoy is on the timeline taking a victory lap, alleging a huge boost in numbers, even though the game day number was still almost a third bigger. But I know the best number of the week was 16 million in the Buckeyes viewership against Texas, the most watched week 1 game ever.
Yeah. I mean, big time matchup going into the season, and it paid dividends for Fox. I'm sure they were happy counting their money after the game. Like, man, we just ran it up and we could charge so much more for these ads. So the Big Ten, I mean, the Ohio State obviously carrying the Big Ten Fox noon kickoff, or big noon kickoff, but obviously it paid off. I mean, everybody watched this game.
I mean, what else were you going to watch?
Grambling State.
I mean, as much as we complain about Big Noon, from a business standpoint, like, all right, let's put Ohio State on when no one else is playing. We're going to get everybody to watch. Pretty good marketing.
I'm just saying, if they put the game at, what was it, 7 o'clock, who you think people are watching? LSU, Clemson, or Ohio State, Texas?
They're watching Ohio State, Texas, but not 16 million.
Yeah, I guess they had absolutely nothing else to watch, so you probably got a fair point there. But I think it's down. It's best when you perform well and you dominate your opponent. Then the LSU Clemson game is like, man, people didn't really watch this. ESPN's falling off.
Q, last year we did an episode that was probably one of my favorite episodes of content that we've ever done. And that was the Will Howard nickname episode, where we hashed out all the potential. Will Howard, a fifth-year player, a guy that has had his ups and downs throughout his college career, many of nicknames, plenty to choose from. We settled on Bill Howard, and I love it to this day. But it seems like the decision has already been made for us. I talked about Super Saiyan, King Julian, but Caleb Downs said they have a nickname for Julian Sayin, and it's J Cool. How do you feel about that?
It's smooth. It's not crazy. It's like,
it's definitely not smash that like, but it's a solid name.
Yeah. It's solid. If you want to, if you want to take the easy route and just be like, just call him J Cool. It's easy. It works. I do still say Oppen Howard was the nickname I love for Will Howard, because it was just crazy. So I don't mind it. I think we can do bigger and better. But for now, he's early in his career. I can go with it for now.
Smash that like to Smith for the touchdown. How does that sound?
I think the show ratings will go up. I'll tell you that.
Oh, man. We appreciate everybody tuning in here on Dead Air Sports. If you're watching on Twitter, make sure that you retweet that. Come over here and watch on YouTube. It helps us much more if you're watching on YouTube than if you're watching on Twitter. So if you watch us daily on Twitter, find your way over here to Dead Air Sports. If you're watching on Dead Air Sports, make sure you smash that like button. It costs you nothing. It helps us a ton. We have a like goal of 100 likes a day. We've been smashing that goal every day for the past couple days, so keep it going. We really appreciate all of the support. Q, I have some updates about some former Buckeyes. I don't know about you, but I've never really had an NBA team, so when I watch the NBA, I just watch Duke players. Wherever they're at, I'm watching. And that's kind of like my Saturday when I'm watching college football. Where are the Buckeyes? I'm trying to see former Buckeyes play. So I wanted to give an update on a couple Buckeye transfers. We have a handful of DNPs to start off with. Aaron Nolan, Devin Brown. Devin Brown did make an appearance. He had one rush for -1 yards, but practically a DNP. Miles Walker did not make an appearance for Boise State. Kojo Antwi did not make an appearance for Colorado State, and Jaden Bonsu is out for the year with an injury at Pitt. Hero Kanu led Texas in snaps at D-tackle. Q, were you surprised by that? He did not get to start, but he ultimately had the most snaps, which, my book, call it what you want. He's the starter.
That's the most important thing. Yeah, I am surprised. I talked about Hero Kanu was maybe he should have stayed at Ohio State. They had so many D tackles in there. Was going to be enough snaps to go around, and was he going to get enough playing time? Well, clearly, he showed how much better that Ohio State defensive line was, better than the Texas defensive line last year, because he went out there and despite all the transfers, he got the biggest snap count. So I thought he played pretty well. Now I'm like, man, I wish we had him in the rotation still, but it is what it is at this point. So he's at Texas. I wish him nothing but the best, but I'm proud of him for getting the most snaps.
Yeah, man. Wish him nothing but the best the rest of his career. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. May see him again in another matchup. Calvin Simpson Hunt in 19 snaps, 5th most out of Baylor corners. Mitchell Melton had 27 snaps, 4 tackles, and half a tackle for loss for Virginia. Jaden Ballard, 3 catches for 26 yards at Wisconsin. Gabe Powers, my financial analyst, loves this. Or financial advisor. Gabe Powers, 26 snaps, 4 tackles. So my Gabe Powers stock that I refuse to sell. Still hold on to it. Zem Mahowski, snap at backup guard for Indiana. Evan Pryor, 59 yards on like 5 carries. So
yeah,
hella production and efficiency. And then our guy Joe Royer had 3 catches for 11 yards. I know Pat Gerd had like 17 snaps as well for Cincinnati. It's not in the notes, but I didn't want to leave him out. Q, which transfers have you been watching, or which transfers do you try to watch in your limited film watch?
Well, the ones I watched most were definitely the Cincinnati-Nebraska game. Evan Pryor, I thought, was playing pretty well. Wish he got more touches in that game. And obviously, Joe Royer. I mean,
that was odd that he didn't get more touches in that game.
I'm like, he the best, probably maybe the best tight end in America. I mean, we have Max Clare, but we talked about it. If Joe Royer was still here, we might be talking the greatest tight end room of all time at Ohio State.
And they said, yeah, and they had Pat Gerd out there going crazy. I know he had at least one catch. So the fact that they had Joe Royer and Pat Gerd, and we're talking about, look at our tight end room in Cincinnati's like, I know, look at it. It's right out here.
So those two I watched most. Gabe Powers, I got to see him a little more last week. I'm a talented kid, man. I'm hoping he picks it up out there at Kansas State, because I thought he was extremely talented. I just thought the linebacker room was a log jam, and we weren't rotating enough while he was here to see him play. But wish him nothing but the best. And then the one I watched the most, there's no question about it, Hero Canoe. Watch his whole game. Every snap and film study.
Yeah, so that was a cool little update to just check in on how some of the former Buckeyes are doing. Once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye. Another former Buckeye was at the game, Caden Davis. I don't think he's putting up the same types of stats as those guys anymore, but I saw on Instagram that he was in attendance for the 1-3 matchup. Q, I wanted to pivot. I did have a graphic. I missed it in the show notes earlier. I did have one more national topic that I wanted to talk about. But when you're talking about this, it's technically a Buckeye topic as well, because you would imagine there will be Buckeyes in the Heisman conversation if they continue to play the way they are. You look at On3's Week 2 Heisman poll, Garrett Nussmeier at number 1, Lenore Sellers at number 2, Tommy Castellanos. Q, do you remember that guy's name?
I thought it's Castellanos. Bro, it's the way they pronounce it, there's like Castellanos or something like that when they said it on
Castellanos.
TV. All right, we'll just call him Castellanos. That's how it's spelled. But yeah, I know who he is, man. You know what time it is. Florida State is back, baby. Heisman incoming.
Multiple defenders on this list, which is just laughable. They're not going to give it to a defender.
They're close.
How do you feel about this top 3? Did they get it right? And then what Buckeyes? We'll start with the top 3, and we'll come back to that next question.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say obviously Castellanos, he had a really good weekend. I mean, he was dynamic in the run game and the pass game, so definitely should be up there. Lenore Sellers, thought he had a good game against Virginia Tech. I'm not crazy about it like everyone else is. And obviously, Virginia Tech is not, one of the top contenders, but I thought he played pretty well. And then Garrett Nussmeier goes out and gets the win against Clemson. I mean, that means something. I mean, I would probably not have him at number 1. I thought he was solid. So I think the top 3, you chef him around. I think I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, man, if Haynes King didn't turn the ball over so much, I think he would be at number 1. I contend that he is the most exciting player in college football right now. Easily the must-watch candidate of the week. I feel like this Heisman race is wide open, but the media seems to have their favorite in Garrett Nussmeier. I feel like they're just trying to do the Joe Burrow thing right now with Nuss. They have a kid from Louisiana that can dance a little bit, and they're like, Joe again. So it's going to be interesting to see if anyone's going to be able to unseat Nussmeier, but it feels like the media has crowned him preseason Heisman and number 1 overall pick already. So it's going to be hard to shake that narrative. But if someone were to no help of Jerry MAQ, which Buckeye do you feel like is most likely to crack that top 3 or potentially get an invite to New York? You see Caleb Downs down there at number 7. Jeremiah Smith, obviously, someone to think about. Could we see Jay Cool enter the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, J. Cool will definitely be up there if he continues to progress from his week 1 performance. I mean, if you're gonna have Caleb Downs and Ruben Bain on there, and you just don't throw defensive players, Arvell Reese better be up there on the Heisman board because he was the standout defensive player of week 1 in college football. Everybody was talking about him, so I would love to see that. But defensive players aren't going to be up there. But yeah, Julian Sayin will definitely be up there. Jeremiah Smith, obviously a little quieter week 1. I mean, Texas held the hell out of him and triple covered him, so you wouldn't expect him to get off there. But yeah, I think those two will be probably the ones for Ohio State, and we'll see what happens on the defensive side of the ball if they want to continue to throw guys up there. But offensively, I mean, Caleb Downs balled out, so he deserves to be up there. But offensively, I would go with those two.
Who on the beat has the guts to ask Ryan Day when we're getting the Arvell Reese tight end package so we can win him the Heisman?
No one. Absolutely no. What was the show? We gonna play more than one quarterback? Sure. We can give me snaps. Why not?
Q, Carson Beck at number 6 has to be an intriguing pick given what we saw Cam Ward do in that offense. We know he has no shortage of talent around him as far as he has tons of SFE guys. He has JoJo Trader, a former SFE member, and Malachi Tony. Could Miami, the U, despite not winning their conference in 20 years or their entire existence within the conference, find a way to get back-to-back Heismans before they win their conference?
I mean, by this list, it's a maybe. I thought Carson Beck was solid his first week. It wasn't like, I mean, when Cam Ward went out there last year, it was flash. It was like, this dude is much-watched TV. Now, it was raining, so I would give him a break, but I didn't see that from Carson Beck. I was like, okay, he's not turning the ball over like crazy. He doesn't look as bad as he did at Georgia and against his Notre Dame defense, so that's good, but I don't see him holding that spot. But again, there'll be plenty of time to go. They got Florida coming up. If he goes the balls out against Florida, he will definitely submit his position and probably in the top 5 of this list. So is it possible? Yeah. Do I think it's likely? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But man, you look at this race, if Nussmeier slips up, it feels like it becomes a wide open race. I was not overly impressed with Lenore Sellers in week 1. So to see him at number 2, it feels like they're just putting names up there at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that. I mean, that was one of the games I got to watch because it was on Sunday. So against Virginia Tech, I mean, I thought Virginia Tech had a lot of chances. Their offense just had some miscues, and obviously, I actually thought their quarterback was really dynamic. I forget his name, but he's fun to watch. I mean, he can run, he can pass. He just missed some deep shots that I wish the receivers, or I wish he had another chance at. But again, Lenore Sellers, I mean, his biggest plays was just throwing. He's like, well, Nicholas Harper's out there somewhere. I'm just throwing it up, and he runs a 10-10-100, so he'll go catch it. So, I mean, I thought he played fine, but he just didn't I wasn't like, oh my God. But he does play in the SEC. We know the narratives. If he can go out and get some big time wins down the road, then we can talk about him then. But beating Virginia Tech week 1 and now he's up to number 2, it's like, it's not the benchmark for me for, I'd rather Julian Sayin be at number 2 because he went out and beat Texas.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to give Julian Sayin any Heisman love during this run of cupcakes before the Washington game. But a long season, plenty of opportunity to work his way in there. And I'm sure Jeremiah Smith, just with the name recognition alone, is going to find his way onto that list sooner than later.
Yeah.
Well, Q, we have some media availability from yesterday. A couple of guys talked to the media: Ryan Day, Arvell Reese, Jalen McClain, Philip Daniels, a whole host of people. Oh, Tim Walton. Everybody was talking, Q. So we have a bunch of notes from this availability. I'll let you get it started.
Yeah.
But
So you
wait,
have some. Oh,
before we get it started, make sure you smash that like button. We have a like goal of 100 likes per episode. It costs you absolutely nothing to like the video, and it helps us a ton. Make sure you hit that like button.
Yeah, just a click and all your dreams come true. That's all
I don't know about their dreams, but ours do.
Someone's dreams come true. Got to sacrifice. Yeah, you wrote some storylines up here. So actually, I'll start with quotes and then we'll jump into it. So had a couple quotes from yesterday. So Ryan Day on Arvell Reese's performance against Texas, he said his production in a big game in that spot, his versatility allows us to do different things with him. Great start for him. He's a guy who practices that way. We're going to continue to need him. He's a huge part of the defense this season. Yeah, high praise for Arvell Reese from a lot of guys. We got a little more on him later, but yeah, Ryan Day saying, "Hey man, I appreciate it because I needed that win."
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about it a segment ago. Like, do we need to get this guy on offense so we can win him the Heisman on defense? It's one of those bittersweet things when you watch him week one and you're like, man, he's amazing. And then you're just sitting there smiling and then it hits you. It's like, it's the only season we're going to get to see.
Yeah. No, I remember last season. I just remember something I said when I was buying the Arvell Reese stock. I was like, apparently the word out there is the Heisman is the floor. So we're going to actually see if we can get it done this season. Because
you're going to have to learn how to say the Butt Kiss Award before the end of the year.
Oh man, but not done praising Arvell Reese just yet. Jalen McClain also talked about him. He said he's a monster, physically imposing. He does what he looks like he's gonna do.
He looks like, you know how I forget what sports show does it, but they do the all dark alley team. Where it's just like the guys that you don't want to run into in a dark alley. And it's like Arvell Reese is one of those.
Yeah. That makes me think of Batman. The Batman movie where the Penguin was like, "You're everything they say you are, aren't you?" It's like, yeah, he is.
You've heard coaches, you've heard players, you've heard media members, you've heard former coaches rave about this kid, and he's living up to all the hype, and it's going to be exciting to watch this season.
Nah, most definitely. And we got our favorite quote from the day from Philip Daniels talking about Colin Simmons. He called him trash moments before he got flagged with that face-to-face penalty. And Philip Daniels said, "I was like, huh?" He said, "You know me, I don't do much talking out there." Then I hemmed him up and I had a few choice words for him.
The fact that we may only have Arvell Reese for 1 year, it gives my heart great joy knowing that we're gonna have Philip Daniels for at least 2 years. So to hear him go out there and, as with his words, hem up one of the best defensive ends in the country, it's exciting to hear, and to see him step in to handle that role and handle the trash talk and step up for his quarterback. A lot of talk before the game, a lot of bulletin board material, a threat to our quarterback, and they didn't touch him. I saw Doug say on the timeline, "You guys didn't breathe on my quarterback." And to see him go out there and handle business on the field despite all the trash talk, and like he said, he doesn't start things, he finishes them.
Yeah.
2-0.
No. A great game by him. Ron, I gotta throw this in there about Arvell Reese. I'm taking this back a little bit, but Landon, I forget his name, but Chris did a podcast with him, the Penn State former offensive lineman. He did some film breakdown with Arvell Reese. It's so funny I have to say it. The play where Arvell Reese hems up the guard and throws him back before he goes after Arch Manning. He gets him turned around, and he's like, Arvell Reese just turned the lineman into a pass rusher because he's throwing him back towards Arch Manning. It looks like they're both about to tackle him. It was so funny.
Yeah, Landon Tangwall did a film breakdown. Yeah.
Turns him into a pass rusher. I love that line. I'm using that all season.
Some other quotes. He also said that we were one of the best offensive lines in the country. He doesn't care what PFF says. I'm right there with him. We got some not the greatest grades from PFF. We watched the film back. It was I thought it was reassuring that we saw correctable mistakes that we saw last year, and we've watched the Buckeyes correct before on tape. Early season mistakes that they find ways to get cleaned up. So whatever PFF says, I have all the faith in the world in this staff of getting these guys right. And that's just going to be something that I'll have my eye on as far as the assignment and alignment issues that we saw with the offensive line. Are they able to correct those in these next couple games? Those are mental mistakes that are going to appear whether they're playing the number one team in the country or they're playing Grambling State or Ohio. So we're going to be keeping our eye on those things and making sure they're able to identify what they're looking at out there. So that's something to keep an eye on with this offensive line. And I'm right there with them. I don't care what PFS says. I know how physically imposing this offensive line is, and they're going to get it right.
Yeah, again, last season we talked about PFF grades, and I saw some guys at Ohio State at times grading higher than James Pierce, who was absolutely wrecking ball at Tennessee. And I'm like, if anybody outplayed James Pierce this weekend, I'd like to know who and what they saw, because none of the guys looked like him during those weekends. But yeah, they're subjective, but it tells you if guys are on track. But I'm with you.
My thing with PFF, if they tell me someone's great, I believe them. If they tell me someone really stinks, I believe them. Everything else in between is a wash to me.
Subjective. But yeah, no, Luke Montgomery also after rewatching film, like he had a really good game. Honestly, I was impressed by him, especially in the run game. So these guys can build out again. We're working on their fundamentals this weekend, get a little better, and we're rolling to Washington. So I'm proud of this offensive line.
Absolutely. Day said when he spoke to the media that they plan, I wanted to stick with the offensive line. They plan to continue to rotate at right guard. And it's like, most people hear that and they would be concerned, but it's like, we just watched us win a national championship rotating at right guard. We talked all off season about how they're comfortable playing 7, 8 offensive linemen, potentially even going 10 deep. I have all the faith in the world. If you're telling me all off season that you think that you're going to go 10 deep into your offensive line, you're going to be able to find a competent right guard, or Tegra's going to figure it out. Like, I was talking to Cam on the phone and I said, yeah, they said they're going to keep rotating right guard. And he's like, just like last year. And then Tegra is going to all of a sudden decide, oh, I'm going to want to lock in and play football at a high level for a 4-game national championship run. Seen it once before. Why won't it happen again? So the things that we've seen early as far as struggles with the team, not struggles, but things that can be corrected, I think it's encouraging because we've dealt with these things before and still won a national championship.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we had a big time performance in Texas. That lets you know where you are. There's a ton of time in here to tune up, and really, I think we're all obviously we know Washington's going to be a bit of a tough game, but going down that stretch, working our way to Penn State and a couple other opponents, it's like we got time to get better and work on it. You got your hard win out the way. Now it's time to really lock in, get guys ready to go. And again, you don't need to be playing your best ball at the beginning of the season. I don't care what Lou Holtz says. Like, yeah, don't worry about the Buckeyes now, because I don't want people scared now. I want people scared around Big Ten championship time, playoff time, because that's when it really counts. So that's when I'll be ready to talk about
Even if you do need to play your best ball at the beginning of the season, why the hell is he talking about the Buckeyes and not his team that just lost?
Don't worry about that.
Okay. Well, since I'm not going to worry about that, I'm going to pivot to something else that Ryan Day discussed, and that was the desire to get Lincoln Kienholz some snaps in this game. I hope the Buckeyes score 107 points in this game, and Lincoln gets to play multiple quarters. I want the Buckeyes to go out there all gas, no brakes, and I feel like it is so important for the Buckeyes to get out on an early lead and let other people get snaps in this game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You got to get guys reps. I mean, we talk about how deep the offensive line is. Got to give those guys some reps. We talked about freshmen getting in this past weekend against Texas, which was highly impressive, but not a lot of guys played, especially we only had 3 wide receivers play on the defensive side of the ball. A couple of freshmen got snaps, but a lot of guys who you're waiting to see debut, and we're talking about a little later, get some playing time. So, again, I'm hoping it's a comfortable win, get things done in the first half and give the second half to the backups and really let them rotate and learn and play in this both new offensive defensive schemes.
It feels like the Buckeyes have an opportunity with these next two games. It's almost like a second fall camp for them with two preseason games. You have the Grambling State game this weekend, and then you ramp things up against a potential MAC champion in the Ohio Bobcats, a little bit more of a test. So you get to see them open it up with the offense a little bit more this weekend and then have a more challenging opponent the following week. I think these next 2 weeks are going to be super interesting for the Buckeyes and an opportunity for them to correct little things with also out the added pressure of playing the number one team in the country.
Yeah. Like
also, they can't play the number one team in the country because we are the number one team in the country.
It's practice every day.
It's like I'm torn between like wanting to acknowledge us as the number one team in the country and also say we beat the number one team in the country. Well, we're the number one team in the country.
We are forever the hunter, not the hunted. So, no, I'm with you there. I mean, you had a great point. We got a couple tune-up games. It was almost back to preseason, and a lot of guys having the opportunity to play. So, a lot to watch. I mean, this is my favorite time. I like seeing the backups come in. We talk about these freshmen year-round. We want to see them hit the field. So, it's an exciting time. And then we got to lock in for the Big Ten schedule.
Absolutely. Tim Walton also spoke to the media and said that it's also critical for some of the young guys to get experience in these next couple of games. He mentioned Bryce West, Devin Sanchez, and Aaron Scott, how critical it is to get all of these guys reps. And we talked about why it was so big coming into this season with the Buckeyes having 8 new starters. Ohio State fans weren't worried because on defense, they weren't worried because we've seen these guys play. And the Buckeyes found ways to get these guys on the field when they were young. And I feel like these are games where they take advantage of these opportunities. And I look forward to seeing some of these young guys get reps in these games because we've watched it pay dividends in the guys that are currently playing now.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're really developing and going into the season when you have 8 new starters and you're like, man, just wait till we got. And I remember those moments.
Well, wait till you see them.
Yeah, wait till you like. I know what we got. Just wait till you know what we got because we've been talking about these guys for years. So it's good to finally see them hit the field. And now it's time to develop that next. You talked about Aaron Scott, Bryce West, and Devin Sanchez. I mean, next year it's probably your starting 3. So yeah, got to get those guys ready to go.
Absolutely. Says someone asked him why Malik Hartford didn't play, and his response was essentially, it's early in the season. There's still plenty of time to learn, develop, and get better. So that's someone that I will also have my eye on to see if he finds a way to crack that rotation. They talked about a battle between him and Jalen McClain throughout camp and the potential desire to get both of them on the field at the same time. But, shout out to what Jalen McClain and Lorenzo Stiles were able to do at their positions to hold him off and keep him off the field. I think it's more of a testament to what those guys were able to show and the development that they've had versus an indictment of Malik Hartford.
Yeah, no, definitely. Those 2 guys balled out. They were some of the best on defense. I don't know what their grades were, but they absolutely played really well. So, I mean, Malik Hartford.
Unless they were really high, I don't care what PFF said.
But yeah, Malik Hartford is probably in your back duo if he can hold off Faheem Delane. It's probably your 2 starting safeties next year. So you look at that. Jalen McClain was heavily impressive. You feel like he can fill in for what Caleb's down does for the most part, especially with another year under his belt and a lot of playing time. You'd probably shift him over and have Malik Hartford playing that Lathan Ransom more in the box, coming up and hitting people because that's what he does. He's an enforcer. So it's always good to have some of those back there. So I'm interested to see what he plays and what he look like because this is year 3 now. So he should be pretty close to ready to go and ability to be a starter.
Absolutely. That's someone to keep your eye on. And who knows? It's always next man up. You hate to even think about injuries, but this is the reason why you get these guys reps in these games. It's a long season and you want these guys to be healthy. You don't want it to feel like this team's championship hopes go out the window with a single injury. And that's why you want to make sure these guys are ready. Q, was there anything else from the media availability that you wanted to hit on? There was a couple other notes. I'm not sure if there was anything left in here that you wanted to get to.
No, I mean, I think we talked about it again. A lot of praises for performances. Questions about what we're gonna do. We need to get better at. I mean, Ryan, they talked about this team. They have so much room to get better, and that's what these next 2 weeks are about. So most of what we talked about. I mean, some good quotes here. I mean, I'm happy for the Arvell Reese hype. We got to get him on that Heisman ballot. But other than that, I think we covered it.
Yeah, we have a interesting thumbnail today. It says the Buckeyes' secret weapon Q. We're going to get the opportunity to see a lot of guys make their debut this week. So I wanted to have a discussion about who we are most excited to see make their debut after we did see Devin Sanchez get on the field, limited snaps for the young guys in week one, given the circumstances and the stakes, but we're going to get the opportunity to see a lot of people play. So I wanted to ask you who you're excited to see make their debut this season.
Do you want to go one by one, or you just want me to give you like three?
We'll go back and forth with this list that we have here. Did you have additional ones to the one that are on
I
the,
do have an additional one that's not on this list. That way I can.
All right,
give
go
you
ahead. You can start with that.
So I can give you your SFE guy. A guy I'm looking forward to because he's almost an hour never time is Bryson Rodgers. We talked about it, talked about him in this offseason saying, hey, man, he's working his way through the pecking order. He's trying to get in this lineup. I mean, you've heard nothing but really good things about him going through camp, especially his route running. We talked about it on Saturday. The wide receivers weren't the most impressive, but they did what they needed to do. There could be snaps to be out there, especially if you start making plays in these next couple of weeks. So can Bryson Rodgers make an impact? Can he do something where it's like, oh, okay, he's ready to go and he can crack this rotation, because you still do not want a 3 wide receiver rotation. I love the cardio game, but I don't need my wide receivers burnt out at the end of the season. So I know you want your SFE guys in and you have a backup built in, but let's get another backup on top of that is ready to go. So Bryson Rodgers, I want to see him these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, you tipped my hand there. You know where I'm going with this pick. As if 3 SFE starters wasn't enough at wide receiver, we're going to get a chance to see another SFE guy make his debut this week in Mylon, a guy that got a ton of hype this offseason, rightfully so, flashed in the spring game. You saw all kinds of clips of him coming out of spring. No snaps for him in week one against Texas, but a guy that a lot of people have a lot of high hope for. We've heard some ridiculous comparisons that I won't even repeat on here, but
I got one.
He has the game-breaking speed, and we've seen it flash, and Buckeye fans are always clamoring for that game-breaking speed on the field. Mylon possesses that, and I think he's going to be able to take an advantage of a team like Grambling, especially when he gets his opportunity. So that is a guy that I have my eye on this week in his debut.
Garrett Wilson with better footwork.
faster than Tyreek Hill.
Oh man. Okay. My next one, I'm moving to the defensive side of the ball, and I'm gonna talk about Bryce West. We didn't get to see him on Saturday. He's one of the guys we're looking forward to in the battle with Lorenzo Styles. And Lorenzo Styles absolutely balled out. So if it was a battle, you would say Bryce West is pretty close to being ready. And obviously next year we're gonna need him. So I'm interested to see what he looks like on Saturday. Him, and I'll throw Aaron Scott in with him. Both of those guys being the backup corners along with Devin Sanchez. I want to see them get some stats. We just talked about them earlier. So interesting to see what they look like in the year 2 project.
Yeah, I don't know how I got lost in the notes. I did want to circle back to the media availability. Tim Walton was asked about Devin Sanchez getting on the field, and he pretty much said he earned those reps through his consistency in fall camp, and they knew that they wanted to use him in dime packages, and that's what the game called for out there. And he went out there and performed. And like we've heard throughout the week talking about this Buckeye team, like you just watched the worst version of Julian Sayin that you're ever going to see in a Buckeye uniform week one. Like, this kid is going to continue to progress. That was his first ever start ever. You just watched the first 12 snaps of a 3 to 4 year career in Devin Sanchez. Like, it's only up from here for these guys. So it's going to be super exciting to watch and to hear Tim Walton talk about Devin going out there and earning those snaps, and, you know, them having the plan, knowing going into the game that he was going to get those opportunities and those looks. It's great to see, and it has to be exciting for Buckeye fans to think about the future of all these young guys. And it's not just the young guys. There's so many guys on this team that have experience but haven't got as many game reps, and it's going to be exciting to see what they look like with experience 6-8 games into the season.
Yeah, a lot of and that's the problem of Ohio State. You have your starters, obviously, so many of that getting ready to go to the pros. There's a lot of middle of the pack guys who aren't freshmen, have been here for a couple of years in the program. We're talking about some of them right now. I mean, you see a guy like CJ Hicks finally break through, and now important part of the defense are getting plenty of snaps. We got a lot of guys who are on the verge of where he was last year, just trying to crack the lineup. So, I mean, Bryce West and Aaron Scott, two of those guys, along with Devin Sanchez, who's getting his reps early. So that's very important. That can continue to build up and kind of be on that verge of being ready to go next season. So them, along with a Bryson Rodgers, are guys I'm looking forward to seeing, because I don't want those guys to get lost in the shuffle. It's like, hey, we're going to need you. We don't either. This is Ohio State. We don't rely on freshmen to come in here. We have, unless it's just Jeremiah Smith, we have things set in place, and then those freshmen
Devin Sanchez.
Accent what we already have going on. So it's really important for those guys to get ready.
Yeah, I did want to stick on the defensive side of the ball, but I did want to pivot outside of the game for a second. You brought up the name CJ Hicks, a court case to keep an eye on. There's a kid at Vanderbilt essentially suing the NCAA, trying to change the redshirt rule to just flat out 5 years for everybody, regardless of a redshirt. And that's an interesting case to keep an eye on, because that would mean a potential 5th year for one CJ Hicks if he does not end up looking like he is ready for the draft at the end of the season. It would be awesome to see him have the opportunity to return. But I did want to stick on the defensive side of the ball as far as debuts that I'm excited for. And the one that I'm excited for is Riley Pettijohn, because we were talking on the postgame show about Arvell Reese potentially only being a 1-year starter here at Ohio State and potentially off to the NFL. And Chris Drew goes, good thing we got another freak show right behind him. You've seen Payne Pierce get a ton of reps, and the coaching staff has a ton of trust and belief in him, and that's a guy that is the next man up. But when you talk about that twitched up monster type of freak show at linebacker that we've seen in Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese, the next one up is Riley Pettijohn, and I think it's going to be exciting to see him get his opportunity to play on Saturday, because those snaps are going to be even more important, especially with the potential departure of Arvell at the end of the season. The progression of Riley Pettijohn becomes that much more of a priority this season, given what most people, coming into the season, did you think Arvell Reese it feels like to call it one and done, even though he's been here for 3 years, but one and done as a starter, is that something that you had in your mind coming into the season?
I mean, I would have thought it was possible if you asked me. I mean, the way he played last season in limited snaps, he looked like he was ready to play last season. Should he have been one and done? No. We should have saw more of Arvell Reese last year, and then also given he's a year ahead in grade than his age.
It's like you should have seen him, and it's like Sonny Styles block O recipient ahead of him, and Cody Simon starting NFL linebacker. Like, how do you start him?
You still should have. I didn't say he needs to start, but you still should have seen him more, especially, like this said, Sonny Styles and Cody Simon definitely picked it up in the second half of last year. I think after the Oregon game, everyone was like, all right, we got to get our shit together. So everybody picked it up on defense as a whole. But yeah, I mean, I would have been surprised. I mean, we knew he was a freak show. We've talked about it. He came in his edge, moved the linebacker, and last year really looked the part. So you knew with the buzz coming out of camp from last year winning MVP in a scrimmage, and now this season, the buzz coming out, you're like, yeah, I'm just waiting. Like I said, we're waiting for the national media to tell us what we already know, and now they're doing that. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I would hope I want to see more of Arvell Reese. So I hope maybe he's like, oh, I'm a grade ahead. Maybe I could just wait till the senior, only be 21 and go to the NFL. That would be nice, but I don't know. When those millions of dollars start rolling in, and they're like, hey, they're talking about you in the first, second round. It's hard to stay.
Q, I'm going to leave the remaining defender for you before we discuss the cover topic of the day.
All right, I'm taking a page out of your book, but Malik Hartford. We talked about him. Obviously, he needs to get ready. He needs to get more snaps, and that was the guy I'm looking forward to making his debut along with the other DBs I talked about. And I might throw Faheem Delane in there as well. We talked about him coming in a lot of hype out of camp. He looks the part. He's just young, and it's hard to put a freshman safety in back there because you really want to trust your defense and you want the experience. So I would say those two. I'll throw you an extra one. Those two are guys I'm looking forward to. See if they look the part and seeing if Malik Hartford is ready to start and ready to go play.
Q, the thumbnail says Ohio State's secret weapon. There is a picture of Bo Jackson on the cover. Q, I watched back the game and I just couldn't help but feel like the Buckeyes left something to be desired in the run game as far as the level of explosion. I went back and watched the spring game, and there was an explosive running back out there. It was Bo Jackson. And it just feels like in these next two games, there's an opportunity for one of these running backs, either James Peoples or Bo Jackson, to assert himself as the dynamic back in this backfield. Q, do you think that there's an opportunity for one of the running backs to assert themselves as the second back? I know Ryan Day says it's going to be a rolling rotation between everybody in that room. James Peoples is the second guy. It's going to be a Quinshawn and Travion type of split. But that's not what we saw on Saturday. And post-national championship, I don't like to bring up the old nickname because he's been fairly truthful. But is this a Lion Day type of situation? Are we just waiting for? And here's my thing: I have been consistent with the coaching staff's been right. Damn near every complaint that the fan base, including myself, has had as far as getting guys on the field, playing guys when they're ready. You saw they're not afraid to play the young guys. Devin Sanchez was out there with the game on the line. So clearly if Bo Jackson was ready in the game and they wanted him to get the carries, he would have got them. But I just think in the next 2 weeks, he may make them more tempted to give him carries. But if not, I feel like this is the window now or never for both of these backs to really claim those carries, because it feels like the window is open for someone to potentially assert themselves as someone to split those carries with CJ Donaldson.
Yeah, it's a big week for those guys. I mean, CJ Donaldson has submitted his spot. You trust him with the ball, and the running back's a little different than DB. Obviously, he has the ball in his hand, so you don't want him to try to do too much, go out there and fumble in a 7-point game against Texas. So I see why Bo Jackson didn't quite get minutes. But, yeah, him and James Peoples, I mean, this – you say it. I mean, you got CJ Donaldson. You want another home run hitter. You want another guy you get the ball in space and kind of relieve the running game a little bit, even if it's not working. It's good to throw running back screens and certain things like that. So, go ahead.
We watched Travion Henderson become a Buckeye legend with his game-breaking ability. It started in the Minnesota game in the first game of his career, and he housed another huge screen to end his final career. We watched time after time after time where Travion Henderson came up with a massive play when it felt like the Buckeyes offense was stalling, and he just decided to rip off 60, 70, 80-yard runs and screen passes for the Buckeyes. It didn't feel like we saw that capability against Texas. Does James Peoples flash that in the next two games? Does Bo Jackson get an opportunity and show a game-breaking type of ability in the next couple games? That's really what I have my eye on, and the thing that I am most interested to see in the Bo Jackson debut in the next, whether it be against, it's definitely going to be against Grambling State. So his debut against Grambling State this week is the one that I'm most excited for, but I'm also super excited to see what James Peoples is able to do with more opportunities and to see how this rotation shakes out in the coming weeks.
Yeah, actually,
I've brought it up on every show. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Something I'm interested to see that is kind of the analytics behind. So if one of those guys do break a run, I'm interested to see what that miles per hour when they're carrying the ball, what that speed is. And I talk about that because Bo Jackson in high school, he broke a run his last year, and he was up at like 21, I think close to 22 miles per hour. Now, I don't know what Travion Henderson's top speed was from last year. I have no clue, but I would have to guess it's somewhere up there at 22, 23, maybe even 24 miles per hour, the way he was moving against Texas. So if you can have a guy that's hitting that level of mark, and that's something we haven't really heard about. I feel like every season we hear about guys' speed in the miles per hour. I mean, Jaden Ballard was a practice All-American in miles per hour, hitting 24 one time. So I feel like we've gotten more feedback of what these guys' top speeds were in different years. But I'm interested to see on Saturday if one of them can break it and they're hitting that 22, 23 miles per hour mark. It's like, all right, we got us one. If we get them in space, we can definitely use it. And I think they both have the capability. I would say, just off guess, maybe Bo Jackson has a little bit more great game-breaking ability, but I also see James Peoples outrun people in the state of Texas, which is not a slow state by any means. So, yeah, they both have a good opportunity to do it. So that's something I want to track. I don't know where I can find it, but I'm going to go find the analytics and see if when these guys do break a run, how fast they're actually moving.
Yeah, I feel like there is a huge opportunity for both of these guys to assert themselves as the game-breaking back for the Buckeyes. I feel like it's going to be something that the Buckeyes need if they plan on making a national championship run. They're going to need a dynamic element in the run game, and I'm excited to see which one of these backs asserts themselves as that person.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of opportunity. I mean, maybe even throw a shot at Turbo Rodgers in there. I mean, his name is Turbo. It's got to be fast, right?
Exactly. With a name like that, I'm willing to give it a try. But Q, that's all I have for today. We appreciate everybody tuning in here for the Buckeye Roast. Make sure you smash that like button. It helps us a ton. We have a like goal of 100 likes per episode. It helps us a ton when we get these early likes in the morning. When you guys are watching live, it takes you absolutely no effort to hit that like button, and it helps us a ton. Q, let the people know where they can find you.
Well, appreciate everybody tuning in to the Buckeye Roast on Dead Air Sports. While you're here, like Ron said, please go ahead and like that video. If you want to find me, I am City Boy Quitting on Twitter, Flying Johnson on Instagram, but most importantly here, Monday through Friday. I think our next show is live show Friday, right? Yeah, live show.
Q, I don't know what day of the week it is. I wake up, I talk to everyone in the chat. I open my laptop. I even do it on Saturdays, and then I realize, oh, it's Saturday. I don't work today, and I close my work laptop, and then I open my personal laptop, and I start working on college football stuff again. I don't have days off once college football starts, so it really doesn't matter what day of the week it is. Yeah. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to do college football stuff. I'm going to do my real job, and my real job usually spills into the weekends because I'm so damn busy at this point in the year. I just work 7 days a week. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is anymore.
Well, Ron, I do believe that deserves a like. So that like comments in there. Yeah, I'm looking at the date. Our next time seeing you will be live. So make sure you're here Friday live as we preview the weekend. Definitely do some game picks. Definitely do some over-unders. I feel like that'll be fun, especially for the live show. So again, we're here.
I mean, how fun is it going to be? Our over-unders were terrible. I think that we need a new handicapper because I said some crappy lines because the unders went on everything except for Devin Sanchez and Riley Pettijohn snap count. I was right on with that. I set the line at 11.5. It came in right at the over at 12. That was the only line that I set well. I was like, 400 pass yards, 600 rushing. It's like, no, way under on all of that.
100. Put your over 100 yards. Put your house on it.
I'll bet my hat on it.
But make sure you do that. All that good stuff. Ron, where can they find you at?
If they want to find me, they can find me right here on Dead Air Sports Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. here with my guy QP for the Buckeye Roast, talking all things Buckeyes and college football. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can catch me at 2Ts. It's 2_TES. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button. You know how this thing goes. It's always
Bleacher. Ron, you have Bleacher Report today?
Yes, it is Thursday. You will be able to catch a piece of, I believe, Chris's in Bleacher Report talking about, I have to make the thumbnail for it. I don't even remember what the topic is. He is talking about the offensive identity and how the Buckeyes are going to mold the offensive identity in these next two games against Grambling and Ohio. And one, get Julian Sayin comfortable as a quarterback, and two, identify what this running back rotation is going to look like. I believe that is the topic, unless he changed it since then. But The only way to find out is to make sure that you tune in the Bleacher Report app to see what Chris Drew is talking about. You can catch us on Saturdays doing post games immediately after the Buckeye game in the Ohio State team stream. Make sure you check us out there in post games. And then if you want to find me on Twitter, it is at 2Ts2_TEES. We appreciate you guys watching here at Dead Air Sports. If you like what you see, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're a fan of us, if you're a fan of Chris Drew, plenty of content coming out on this channel. It's hard to even keep up with these days. We appreciate all of the support, Q. And you know how this thing ends. It's always go Bucks. And of course, OH.
Ayo.
Yeah.
Example, when things get hard in life, you just keep swinging as hard as you can, you fight. That's our culture.
I promised you we had a plan. Remember that we talked about a plan? The plan was infallible. Part of that infallible plan is getting a team prepared, ready to go, so we start practice. Our coaches know what we got. And there's not one person in America I trusted more than Coach Mick and that staff. Think about this. 130 teams either today, they report, or they've already reported. 130. 16 weeks from now.